Julia turned off her computer and stretched. It had been a long, exhausting day. A client presentation that dragged on, a meeting that followed, then edits to a contract. Her head buzzed, her shoulders ached. All she wanted was to get home, take a shower and collapse on the couch with a book. The two-bedroom apartment on Lincoln Avenue had become her fortress 2 years ago. Julia had saved for a long time, taken a mortgage, and when she finally received the keys to her own place, she felt as if she had dropped a heavy backpack she'd carried for years. She furnished it slowly, bought the furniture, chose textiles, arranged her books on the shelves. Every corner was thought through, every little thing had its place. She met Mark last spring at a friend's corporate party. Tall, athletic, with an easy smile, he caught her attention immediately. They started talking by the buffet table, exchanged numbers, began dating. Mark turned out to be attentive, walked her home after work, brought flowers for no reason, remembered important dates. 6 months later he proposed. Julia didn't say yes right away. She took a week to think it through. In the end she decided he was the right person, calm, reliable, without any strange habits. The wedding was set for next summer. For now, Mark rented an apartment across town while Julia lived in her own. A month ago he asked, "Julia, can I have a spare key? Just in case, if something urgent happens I can stop by. Or water the plants when you're away. Grab the mail." Julia thought for a moment and agreed. It made sense. They were getting married soon, would live together anyway. "Just let me know before you come," she asked. "Of course," Mark smiled. Since then, he had stopped by a couple of times, brought groceries, watered the plants once when she worked late. Always warned her beforehand. No problems. That evening, Julia left the office around 8 p.m. The November wind greeted her with drizzle and chill. She pulled up her hood and hurried to the subway. On the way, she thought about the casserole waiting in the fridge. All she had to do was heat it up. Then a shower. Then her book. Perfect. The stairwell smelled of dampness and old radiators. Julia climbed to the 4th floor, found her keys, and froze. 3 big bags and a rolling suitcase stood by her door. She frowned. Neighbors? But why here? Maybe someone mixed up the floor? She unlocked the door, stepped inside, and heard voices. Female voices. Loud. From the bedroom. "Mom, where should I put the iron?" "Right on that table, honey. It's convenient." Julia froze, keys in hand. Her heart dropped. What was happening? She hung up her coat and walked slowly down the hall. The bedroom door was slightly ajar. Inside, 2 women were unpacking. One older, around 50, in a navy dress with neat hair. The other younger, maybe 30, in jeans and a sweater. Julia recognized both. Linda Parker, Mark's mother, and his sister Sophie. They'd met a couple of times at family dinners. Linda was spreading clothes on the bed. Sophie unpacked a suitcase. "Excuse me," Julia said loudly. Both women turned. Linda smiled, as if greeting an old friend. "Oh, Julia. There you are. We've almost finished unpacking." "Unpacking what?" Julia asked slowly. "Our things, of course," Linda said cheerfully. "We'll stay here for a little while. Just until the renovation's done." Julia blinked once. Twice. The information didn't fit in her head. What renovation? "At our place," Linda explained easily. "The pipes burst last night. Flooded the whole apartment. We had to call repairmen. They said it'll take at least a week to dry out before they can fix it. So Sophie and I decided to move here. Mark gave us the key, said you wouldn't mind." Julia stood in the doorway trying to process what she just heard. Mark had given them her key without telling her. "Mark knows you're here?" "Of course. He's the one who gave us the key," Linda said. "Told us to make ourselves at home. And he couldn't warn me?" Julia's voice was calm, but something hot and unpleasant boiled inside. "Julia dear, we're practically family," Linda smiled again. "The wedding's soon. Why make a fuss? Mark said you'd be fine with it." "He was wrong." Linda's smile stiffened. "What do you mean wrong?" "I mean I'm not fine with it." Sophie stepped in, frowning. "Julia, don't be like that. Our apartment's flooded. Where else can we go? You want Mom to stay in a hotel. You can rent a place. Plenty of short-term options online." "That's expensive," Sophie protested. "Why waste money when you've got 2 rooms?" Julia looked at the bed. Her favorite lavender sheets were gone, replaced by some beige set she'd never seen. "Where's my bedding?" "Oh, we took it off," Linda said casually. "We washed it already. It's drying in the bathroom. It's uncomfortable sleeping on someone else's sheets." "That's my bed." "Well, we're only here temporarily. A week or two." Julia walked to the kitchen. There was a pot on the stove. Something with meat. Groceries on the table, her containers pushed to the bottom shelf of the fridge. Their salad now sat on top. "Linda," Julia called. "Yes, dear." Linda entered, wiping her hands. "We never agreed that you'd stay here." "Oh, Julia, come on. We'll be family soon. You won't throw us out, will you?" "I'm not throwing anyone out. I'm asking you to find another solution." Linda's expression hardened. "Julia, my apartment is flooded. I have nowhere to live. Mark said we could stay. You want to start a fight with your fiancé. I want to understand why he didn't ask me. Because he knew you wouldn't say no. You're such a kind girl," Linda said with a forced smile. "Aren't you?" Julia dialed Mark. He answered after a few rings. "Hey, Jules. How's your day?" "Mark, your mother and sister are in my apartment." "Oh yeah, I meant to tell you. But you had that presentation and I didn't want to bother you. Mom's place got flooded. I had to act fast. I thought you wouldn't mind." "You thought wrong. Come on, Jules. It's my mom and sister. You're not seriously going to kick them out." "I'm not kicking them out. I'm asking them to leave the apartment they entered without my permission." "Jules, please don't start. They'll stay a week tops. They really have nowhere to go." "That doesn't give you the right to invade my space." Mark sighed. Voices echoed in the background. He wasn't alone. "I'm busy right now. Let's talk tonight, okay?" "Fine. Goodbye, Mark." Julia hung up. Her hands trembled. A few minutes later, Linda appeared in the kitchen doorway, arms crossed. "Well, did you talk to him?" "He explained everything." "He did. Good. Then there's no need to argue. Sophie and I will take your room and you can sleep in the living room. The couch is comfy, isn't it?" Julia looked straight at her. "I'll sleep in my bed. You'll find somewhere else to stay." "Julia, we've already unpacked." "Then pack again." "You're serious?" Linda's tone turned icy. "Absolutely." Sophie rolled her eyes. "Wow, Julia, you're really stingy. There's enough space for everyone." "It's my apartment. And I didn't invite you." "But Mark did." "Mark has no right to." "How can you say that? He's your fiancé. Not my husband. Until then, this apartment belongs only to me. And I decide who stays here." Linda's face reddened. "So you're throwing us out into the cold? When our home is flooded? I'm asking you to respect my space. There's no other option. There are hotels, rentals, hostels, many options. How dare you?" Sophie snapped. "My mother is an elderly woman. She needs comfort. Then give her that comfort yourself. But not at my expense." Linda slammed the bedroom door. Sophie shot Julia a hateful look and followed her. 10 minutes later, the door opened again. Linda emerged, dragging a suitcase, lips pressed tight. "We'll remember your hospitality, Julia," she said coldly. "Goodbye, Linda. I'll tell Mark everything. We'll see how he feels about his bride's behavior." "Please do." They left. The apartment fell silent. Julia exhaled slowly. Then she stripped the bed, put on her lavender sheets again, threw out their food, washed the pot, and restored everything to its place. At 9, the phone rang. "Mark." "Julia, Mom told me everything. Did you really kick them out?" "I asked them to leave my apartment, where they had no right to be. Jules' mom's place was flooded. She had nowhere to go. There are hotels, rentals, hostels. She's an adult. You're being unbelievably selfish." "Maybe. But it's still my apartment, and I never agreed to let them stay. I'm your fiancé. I have the right to give my family a key." "No, Mark. You don't. I gave you the key, not them." He fell silent. Then curtly, "Let's talk in person." "No need. I need to think." "Think about what?" "About a lot of things. Goodbye." Julia stood by the window. Rain drizzled down. The city lights reflected on wet asphalt. Inside, everything felt calm. For the first time in days, calm. The next morning, she called a locksmith. "Good morning, Mr. Stevens. Can you change my lock today?" "Of course, I'll be there in an hour and a half." "Thank you." By noon, a new lock gleamed on her door. Mark's key no longer fit. The phone kept ringing all day. Mark, Linda, Sophie, she didn't answer. That evening he texted, "Julia, let's meet tomorrow. Talk calmly. I love you." She typed back, "Tomorrow 7 p.m. Cafe on Madison." The next evening, Mark was already there, 2 cappuccinos on the table. He stood up to hug her. Julia sat down instead. "Julia, I'm sorry," he began. "I should have asked you first. It all happened so fast. Mom panicked," I reacted. "I thought you wouldn't mind. We're getting married soon, we'll be family." "Mark, you gave away my key. Your mother and sister moved into my apartment, changed my sheets, filled my fridge, told me to sleep on the couch. And you think that's normal?" He looked down. "Mom can be controlling. You know how she is. It's just her nature. Her nature doesn't justify disrespect. She didn't mean harm. She didn't need to." He sighed. "Okay. She was wrong. I was wrong. Let's just move past it. Once we're married, this won't happen again. I'll always talk to you first. Promise." Julia took a sip of coffee. It was hot bitter. She set the cup down. "There won't be a wedding." Mark froze. "What?" "I'm calling it off." "You're serious?" "Over one stupid argument. Over finally realizing we're not right for each other." "Julia, come on, we've been together 6 months. Everything was perfect." "It was perfect until I saw how little you respect my boundaries. You don't see the problem. For you it's small. For me it's everything." She took the engagement ring from her purse, placed it on the table. "Take it." He stared at the ring, pale. "Julia, please. We can fix this." "No, Mark. I was wrong to say yes. Better now than a year into marriage." She stood, put on her coat. "Goodbye." Outside, the cold air hit her face, but breathing was easy. At home, Julia made tea, wrapped herself in a blanket, watched the snow begin to fall. For the first time in a long while, she felt peace. No more voices in her apartment. No strangers moving her things. No one crossing her boundaries. Just quiet. Her space. Her rules. Her life. And that was enough.